Coming up on the Blerd Breakdown, we have the Avengers Doomsday leaks. I'm going to walk you through all the various art and what plot points might be coming through. We also talk about Spider-Man 4 and how it might be a bridge between the Avengers films. Zoe Saldana is in hot water for some of her comments after her Oscar win. We also have Kyrie Irving tearing his ACL and Jay-Z countersuing his accuser. All that and more coming up right now on the Blerd Breakdown. Let's get it. What's good, everybody? I'm Winston Marshall, aka the Swaggy Blerd, and this is the Blerd Breakdown, the pop culture show for when you need to know, see what had happened was. Now, if this is your first time here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm dropping new content, and definitely be sure to throw a like on this video, man. Get in the comments, let me know what you're thinking about all of these various stories. Now, this is the new time for the Blerd Breakdown. I am very excited. We did kind of like a poll there, and it was kind of balanced between the 6 o'clock time slot we've been doing and the 2 o'clock time slot now. I've opted to go with this just because I have been fortunately working a lot at my studio job, and so I'm not always able to get off in time. And so the one thing that I can do is I know for a fact on Tuesdays and Thursdays that I am available for about a good hour, 2 hours here during the day. So that's what we're doing. But yeah, we are here. I apologize. I was like a minute or two late. I was just putting the last little finishing touches on the stories, but we're going to jump right into it. Well, before I do that, I just wanted to give a little bit of update of just what's going on with me and everything like that, man. Super excited. I've got, potentially something, an iron in the fire. I can't announce anything yet, just based off of NDA stuff. But once I can, I'll be sure to share that. But yesterday was a whirlwind day. While that was going on, my car broke down. I am not sure how broken down it is. I just know that odds are it's probably going to be a costly repair, if not a situation where I have to get a whole new car. So for those of you who are, praying, folks, so you got some good juju in the universe, please be sure to throw something up there for me. And then on top of that, let me actually open this up super fast. We're going to make a quick adjustment here. Unfortunately, Big Homie can't get a haircut until this thing that I had mentioned is decided one way or the other. I have to stay exactly where I'm at right now. So hold on. So let me see something super quick. Where is it? I never remember where they keep the goal things. Sorry, give me just a moment. But there is like an alert. The goal box. Maybe it's here. I think it's here. Text speech, text message. Sorry, this is not. I should have handled this before I got in here, but essentially we're gonna make an alteration right now. Any of the tips that are coming in, which I appreciate, but are not necessary one way or the other, but they are appreciated. That's all gonna be going not to the stream deck anymore. That's gonna be going to fixing your boy's car. So like again, I'm good on all that, but it's not gonna be cheap. So I do appreciate any and everything. Any tips that come through. So just keep that in mind one way or the other. I will make an alter to that, but let's just get into the stories, man. We got a lot to talk about. Starting off with the Avengers Doomsday concept art was leaked this weekend and people were abuzz. I'm going to go through all of the various things, what was going on, and if you're not familiar with some of the storylines that will be used, we're going to talk about that too. So let me change this. Let's see if that, that helped a lot. Great. Earlier this weekend, concept art from Avengers Doomsday. This is Josh Wilding and Mark Cassidy reporting from Comic Book Movie. Earlier this weekend, concept art from Avengers Doomsday leaked online. Someone is definitely going to be in major trouble for this blunder, especially as it comes from an artist we won't name or shame them here, who has worked on several MCU projects. Now, by now, you've sure seen the various pieces doing the rounds on social media, but unless you have taken a really close look, you've likely missed some of the bigger reveals. Those include the likes of Doctor Strange and Yelena Belanoff being among Doctor Doom's loyal followers, the dire fate of the Fantastic Four, and a weird X-Men cameo, and a wild new status quo for Star-Lord and the Vision. Let's see. The first one, let me go ahead and pull that up. You can see here, that's what we were talking about over on the left, to the Doom's right, our left, that looks to be Strange. On the right, can't really tell, but it almost kind of looks like that might be either Scarlet Witch or Sue. I would guess probably Sue, only because that young boy, I would guess maybe is Franklin. And then you see on the far right there, that looks like Yelena. But we want to talk about the Young Avengers first. So the Young Avengers in Duop. We've been hearing rumblings for a while that the Young Avengers or Champions assembling in Avengers Doomsday, and that appears to finally be official. Star-Lord and Wong are with the team in what appears to be a bar of some sort. Making up the team includes Miss Marvel. You see over here on the right, kind of fangirling over Wong and Star-Lord. Hawkeye, a.k.a. Kate Bishop, right there to the left, Star-Lord's left. Cassie Lang, right next to her. Wiccan and Speed in between Miss Marvel and Cassie, presumably meaning that Billy Maximoff will indeed track his brother down in the upcoming Vision TV series. Perhaps the biggest talking point is the presence of Duop over there on the right. It kind of looks like the Slimer-looking character with the big X on their chest, a member of Ecstatics. He's an incredibly powerful, mysterious mutant creature, and in the comics speaks his own unique language. We'd guess he's from elsewhere in the multiverse. We will come back to this art, but then again, we also saw a Hulk village. A closer look at the piece featuring the Hulk and She-Hulk may confirm that we're headed to Greenland. At first glance, it was mistaken for a corner of Latveria. For those of you who haven't read Secret War's endless tie-in issues, Greenland was the largest domain of Battleworld and ruled over by a Red Hulk variant dubbed the Red King. It has been a peaceful place until AIM rained down gamma bombs on the kingdom, creating a wasteland of gamma-irradiated creatures and Hulks. The Red King had a contentious relationship with God Emperor Doom, and Maestro, a character rumored to be making his MCU debut soon, is among the many variants who inhabit this land. Based on what we've seen from that Avengers Doomsday concept art, Greenland will be a relatively peaceful place and boast the same medieval aesthetic as Doctor Doom's throne room in Latveria. That's probably a strong indication of what Battleworld will look like. The Hulk and She-Hulk appear to be investigating Greenland alongside a Hulk who may or may not be an older Scar. If so, the character's design has improved considerably since we last saw him. Look closely and you'll spot a young girl mid-transformation as she's having a tantrum. It's kind of hard to see without kind of zooming in on that, so I apologize for that. I may have clipped it out just a little bit. As she has a tantrum, being a Hulk, that's likely the norm here. If Earth's 616 heroes are scattered across Battleworld, it means we'll get to explore some vastly different realities without having to traverse the multiverse and encounter some familiar faces along the way. As for the Red King, that's a perfect opportunity to bring back Harrison Ford back as the former U.S. president. We've also got Star-Lord's new roommate. Part of the fun with the Avengers movies is seeing unexpected characters share the screen, and that looks set to be the case with the legendary Star-Lord and White Vision. Somehow it seems they've become roommates. That's surely another development set to be tackled in Vision when the android presumably regains his emotions. With Peter Quill now on Earth and Vision still figuring out who he is, they may have struck up an unlikely friendship. Either way, between this and the Young Avengers artwork mentioned above, Marvel Studios looks set to make good on the promise to put the spotlight back on Star-Lord after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Dr. Doom and some familiar faces. Again, let's go back to that first set of art here. So, we're finally got a first look at Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, and he looks mighty formidable. He's also not in anything even remotely similar to an Iron Man suit, so that's a huge win. Marvel Studios appears to have embraced the villain's Latverian heritage, and we also see Doom in what could be his White Emperor Doom costume from Secret Wars. An unknown character has been brought before him, Reed Richards maybe, but there are other familiar faces. The guard on the right looks an awful lot like Yelena Belova. I thought it was Belanova, but maybe not. While Doctor Strange appears to be a part of Doom's court. Could the woman and the child of the right be Sue Storm and Franklin Richards, what I mentioned earlier? And then finally, let's go back to the art again. the MCU's new Black Panther. Much has been said about Marvel Studios recasting T'Challa after Chadwick Boseman's tragic death. Now it is finally seems to be happening, though scoopers appear unsure whether it's going to be a multiversal variant or an adult distinct, aka T'Challa 2. There are several costume designs here, so it remains to be seen which of them the MCU's new Black Panther will don in Avengers Doomsday next year. However, we're far more interested in who appears to be playing him. That's Snowfall and F1 star Damson Idris. Marvel Studios rarely uses an actor's likeness if they're not at least close to being cast, so yes, he's very likely the MCU's new Black Panther. It's an intriguing casting choice, but he certainly looks the part here. All right, so there's a lot here, and then I'm going to talk about God Emperor Doom in a second, so let me go ahead and close this. Sorry about that. So yeah, I am super excited about this, and I think a lot of people on the internet are the same way, where they saw this and they were freaking out, and folks that were not interested in the MCU whatsoever saw this highly stylized, this highly like flushed out artwork, and all of a sudden everybody is back on board and they're here to see what's going to happen. Secret Wars is one of my favorite storylines, which is why I was always excited about this and excited about Battle World. I'm curious. I think because we haven't met Molecule Man, it doesn't mean that we couldn't see Molecule Man. I think that it's going to be Scarlet Witch. It's going to be Wanda being used as his battery instead of, whatchamacallit. Sorry, Molecule Man. I was just talking about it. I even think to that point that does look like Sue and Franklin, but there's also a world, especially if Tommy has been found by Billy, that maybe Doom initially had Wanda as, a romantic interest and used it to kind of build this out one way or the other. It'll be really interesting to see how this all plays out one way or the other. Another option, so I see someone in the comments saying it's possible that that's also Kang that's being used as the battery, which would also make a lot of sense. If somehow you're just manipulating time to like mess with all of this stuff, that also seems like another feasible way to kind of to take all that stuff. It makes more sense for a reality warper than a time traveler, but considering all the variants and everything else, and you're trying to wrap it all up, if you're not ready to bring Wanda back, I could see that as a possibility too. I'm glad that we finally are going to get our new Black Panther. I am hoping for a T'Challa variant personally. I think that makes the most sense here as far as how you're going to do it. If you want to see what I thought would have been the best plan, go watch almost any story that I've covered, the recasting of T'Challa. I have given my 2 cents on how I thought that this should have all gone down, but we're here where we are, so it is what it is. And then I love the fact that we are going to get Star-Lord back in it. I think it makes more sense to make Thor more serious. If we're going to get Thor in these movies, we haven't really heard anything yet about that. Make Thor kind of rein it back in, and let Star-Lord be kind of the goofy one, especially the idea that like he's split up from his team now, and he's trying to figure himself out on Earth and everything else like that. I think maybe let him, not that Hemsworth isn't hilarious, he is, but let Star-Lord be the one that kind of is the more goofy of the characters, especially if he's supposed to be some pseudo mentor to both Vision and the Young Avengers. Like I think that would be really funny if he is the one that is really lost now, and so that's why he's hanging with kids, and that's why he's hanging and even adult kids. Vision is by the time we see him, a couple months old maybe. Something like that. So I think that this White Vision, so I think that would be a fun way to go with all of that. But this art, man, like, let's go back to it. Like, this art is so well done and stylized, and it looks amazing, and the set pieces look amazing. I think that this is going to be absolutely fantastic, and I honestly can't wait to see how this all plays out one way or the other. But I want to know what you think, man. Let me know down in the comments. Are you rocking with the concept art? Are you here for it? Are you going to be there day one or not? Now, before we move on to another story, I do want to take some time to talk about who is God Emperor Doom. Josh Wilding did write a little piece here. I'm going to read through it and kind of give my own little 2 cents, and we'll go to it. In the comics, Dr. Doom, who rules over the fictional nation of Latveria, is on a constant quest for more power. As the decades have passed, his sights have shifted from global domination to ruling over the multiverse. In 2015 Secret Wars event by Jonathan Hickman and Isad Ribrick, the Marvel Universe and Ultimate Universe collide in the multiverse's final incursion, stealing the power of the Beyonders, and empowered by an enslaved Molecule Man, God Emperor Doom manages to create a new reality and saves the day. His battle world is every bit as twisted as you'd expect, and outside of a few people, no one remembers life before its creation. Doctor Strange serves as his willing sheriff, while this twisted reality makes it so that Sue Storm is his wife, and Franklin and Valeria, Sue and Reed's children, now see him as their father. It's the ultimate FU to Mr. Fantastic. Based on the leaked concept art for Doomsday, Doom will once again rule as Emperor, albeit in a medieval-inspired setting. In many ways, it makes sense that this new world would pay homage to Latveria's past and a time when the villain can likely rely more on magic than technology. Doom is also shown decked out in his white costume, and he has Strange, Sue, and Franklin by his side. Reed has been forced to kneel before him, and Yelena is seemingly one of Doom's loyal soldiers. Whether she remembers what came before remains to be seen, though we'd bet Strange does. Things look pretty bleak for the Human Torch. In fact, one social media scooper has pointed out previous reports about Earth-616's former Sorcerer Supreme forming an alliance with Doom in a bid to save something of the multiverse. Back to the comics, it was revealed that the Beyonders created the Molecule Man as a singularity in the multiverse. We learned that destroying each of his variants would lead to the destruction of every reality. Who will be the MCU singularity? Kang, Loki, or the anchor beings we've heard so much about? When all is said and done in Secret Wars, after tearing out Thanos' skeleton and murdering a Phoenix-powered Cyclops, Doom is only defeated when the Molecule Man takes some of the villain's power, and a group of 616 heroes who escaped on a cosmic life raft managed to beat him. We're sure there will be plenty of twists and turns in this adaptation, but if you haven't read that comic, it would be a great time to do so. Avengers Doomsday is set to be released on May in 2026, and Avengers Secret Wars scheduled to arrive in May of 2027. What up to everybody coming in? Appreciate y'all. All right. Whoops. All right, give me 1 second. I want to go grab something. So, exactly as the article says, I would highly suggest, if you haven't read it, to go and cop 2015 Secret Wars. Looks like this guy right here. As you can see, really, really great story. One of my favorites to read. It's got a lot of twists and turns. It's very interesting since you're dealing with reality warping. So similar to House of M, where even though things are different, watching like this like the characters still kind of stay true to themselves. Like it's in there somewhere that it's like, even though everything has been just twisted around, that they're still themselves. And that, I think, is pretty interesting to see, and to see them kind of come out of the brainwashing and go back to where it is. I really think that the Russos are out here cooking, and I think that they, what we were all concerned about is, if you're going to do this, you got to do it right. You got to hit it hard. And I think that is kind of what they got going on here, is that they are going to be ready, have the story kind of nailed down pat, and find a way to kind of wrap this all up with a bow. So even if, like, you know, if you're a big sports person like I am, you know, you may have had 3/4 of horrible play, like a couple cool plays, but you have been behind. If you come back in the fourth quarter and you score all the points you need to win, nobody's going to remember the bad game. They might make comment like, man, it was rough there for a minute, but damn, they stuck the landing. I think that's what they're really aiming to do here, and just this concept art is enough to get the monkey off everybody's, to get the monkey off their back of everybody hounding them of, man, you guys have really lost it. You've really, really lost it here. So I honestly don't think the leaks were leaks as much as they were kind of planned. I think that was a way to get people to calm down and get a little hyped up right now, to be honest with you, with as much stuff that's coming up. And especially, we talked about this on Capes and Cows, if they do ultimately delay the movie, after seeing that artwork, and then you make a statement of, we really want to make sure that this is the best that it absolutely could possibly be, who's going to complain about that? They'll be like, yeah, do what you got to do, bro. I want that. That you show me, I want that shit right there. Make it happen. I think that's what's going on here. But let me know what you think down in the comments. If you're on the same page, if you feel a little bit differently, etc., etc. I want to know where you are at. But with that, let's pop over to our next story. Now, it is rumored that Spider-Man 4 will serve as a direct sequel to Avengers Doomsday, Smart Cassidy comic book movie. There have been numerous theories and rumors relating to Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios' fourth solo Spider-Man movie, and speculation really kicked up a few notches when some pretty wild reports about which characters could be involved in the story started doing the rounds a couple of months back. Now, a new rumor may give us a better idea of what to expect. According to Daniel Rickman, Spider-Man 4 is basically being developed as a direct sequel to Doomsday that will bridge the gap between the 2026 film and the 2027 Secret Wars. We have heard that Tom Holland's Wallcrawler is going to have a major role in Doomsday, so Spider-Man 4 serving as the follow-up to at least some extent would make sense. Though Spidey didn't feature in the recent MCU concept art that found its way online, the images did lead to some intriguing theories related to the iconic hero's role in all three films mentioned above. The artwork seems to confirm that we will indeed be headed to Battleworld, a medieval-like land ruled by Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom and a number of Avengers characters who have no memory of their previous lives. In No Way Home, Doctor Strange casts a spell that erases Peter Parker from the minds of everyone he knew. And some believe this will result in Spider-Man emerging as the only character free of Doom's control, potentially making him an anchor being. The concept introduced in Deadpool and Wolverine. I love tying everything together. Tasked with saving the rest of the Earth's mightiest heroes in the multiverse itself, needing help with his mission, Parker could turn to some old friends, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spideys, and assemble a team made up of other multiverse variants, such as Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage, Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, etc. Again, this is just a theory, a film theory. I've never got to do that. I wanted to do that. But it could go some ways towards explaining all those crazy rumors we've been hearing. Rickman has also reiterated a previous report about Blade being developed as a post-Secret Wars movie. The MCU Blade reboot was recently removed from the Marvel Studios slate, but it sounds like the movie is still very much alive. The project is reportedly still on track to commence production in the UK at some point later this year. Okay, I'll believe you when I see it. Last we heard, the latest draft of Eric Pearson, who was the sixth writer to have been assigned to the project after Michael Green, Stacey Osei Kofor, Michael Starbury, Bo DeMeo, and Nick Pizzolatto had finally satisfied everyone involved, although the delay might indicate that they've gone back to the drawing board yet again. Spider-Man 4 was recently pushed back a week from July 24, 2026 to July 31st, 2026. So yeah, that also makes sense. That ends up putting it kind of wedged into that spot. So, yeah. Let's see. Let me come out of this real quick. Bam. All right. So I honestly think that would be very smart. It almost like a lot of times, if you've seen, for those that are big comic readers, you will have that. You'll have your main event, and then you'll kind of have the storylines following. Sorry, I need some water. You'll kind of break off and go follow another character. I know a lot of people watching this are big Star Wars fans. So you'll have the whole situation where you have your main storyline, but you have a side character that's kind of doing some stuff. This would be one of those situations where obviously Peter is a main character in the story, but he would just kind of be there, or Lord of the Rings would be a good example. Even though it's supposed to be following the ring, there's a point at which obviously the hobbits break off and the warriors are doing their own thing to kind of deal with the battles and defend the various towers and things like that are going on. This feels like Pete will kind of end up playing the role of the hobbits, and he has to continue his quest to kind of keep things moving along while all the other main stuff happening in the world kind of all around them. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. We will, meanwhile, with Peter, and then they'll focus in on Peter and what he's doing to kind of keep the ball rolling. I think that's a great idea. Again, I think that we have been treading in deep water for a while, and a lifeboat is here. And I think that with the Russos, who really know how to tell these stories and do a good job, and it feels like Feige calms down when he sees all this stuff. We're really kind of bringing it in here. The only thing I'm going to be really sad about, we're not really ready for the X-Men like that. I would love to see the Phoenix Cyclops attack God Emperor Doom. It's not going to happen. And if it does, I feel like it wouldn't be earned. That's a lot to you want that moment the same way that when Cap finally picked up Mjolnir, you want that shit to be kind of like a big payoff, and I don't think it's going to happen. So yeah. So I do see that Matt's in here. We will throw a Swag Day Fun Day on there. Fun. We will throw a Swag Day Fun Day, but yes, I didn't put this up because I haven't had a chance to alter it. It's no longer going to go towards the Stream Deck replacement. My car broke down, for those that are asking. So any of the tips that are coming through, all of that is going towards my car repair one way or the other. I am crossing my fingers. It is just a minor repair that, even though the engine cut out on me, it's something they can fix, and it's not going to be crazy. But my car is pretty old. So I am a little concerned that I may have to go and buy a whole new one. Both are not something that I'm really looking forward to right now. So any and everything tip-wise from the Super Chats or the Streamlabs, I am internally grateful, but it is not like a necessary one way or the other. It is purely if you decide that is something you would like to do. I appreciate you. I will go ahead and, I just put that in the chat. I'll pin that there. If you would like to donate, you are more than welcome to do so. But again, I want to know what you think about the Spider-Man 4 bridge thing. Let me know one way or the other. And lastly, real quick, we'll go back to the car thing for half a second. I think what I'm gonna end up doing, I'm probably, if not this weekend, maybe sometime next week, I'm probably gonna do kind of a marathon stream. I'll pick a day that I have time to do that. And we'll play games, we'll do AMAs, we'll probably watch some shit. If Matt can finally get people to get the rest of those subs on Twitch, I will finish the Twilight series like I promised. But it'll be a good time. We'll hang out and raise some funds that way. But either way, let's focus on the story here, man. I got a couple more for you that I want to get to. And this next one has to do with the Oscars. Zoe Saldana has been criticized for her speech and her Oscar win and the response to it. This is from Variety, and I will play her response to a question in just a moment here. This is Katie Stephen from Variety. After taking home the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, Emilia Perez star Zoe Saldana responded to criticism of the film's portrayal of Mexico after journalists shared that it has been a really hurtful for us Mexicans. First of all, I'm very, very sorry that many Mexicans felt offended. You know what? Instead of reading this, I'm just going to play the thing. Give me a second to pull that up for you. Oh, no, I'm upside down. Let's see if it'll let me fix this. Bam. Okay, great. We need to go here, and then I need to open up Twitter. I hate that it still reverts it to X. It's not X, goddammit. It's goddamn Twitter. Oh. Also, man, did y'all see these streamers that were attacked? Oh my god, that was horrible. Absolutely horrible. All right, here we go. Bam, bam, and then bam. Nope, that's not it. Bam. There it is. Okay, here. Let me make sure you can hear this. Turn this up. All right, here's Zoe's response to this question after her win.
Hello, Zoe. I'm Cristina Ibanez. I'm from Webedia, representing Sensa Cine, which is a Mexican outlet. I gotta say that it has been a lot of things has been said about the movie, about trans people, about empowering women, but less has been said about Mexico, which is the heart of it. So, what would you say about this, the heart of this movie, but also about the topic, who is really hurtful for us Mexicans?
First of all, I'm very, very sorry that you and so many Mexicans felt offended. That was never our intention. We spoke and we came from a place of love, and I will stand by that. I don't share your opinion. For me, the heart of this movie was not Mexico. We weren't making a film about a country. We were making a film about 4 women.
Yes.
And these women could have been Russian, could have been Dominican, could have been black from Detroit, could have been from Israel, could have been from Gaza. And these women are still very universal women that are struggling every day at trying to survive systemic oppression and trying to find their most authentic voices. So I will stand by that. But I'm also always open to sit down with all of my Mexican brothers and sisters and with love and respect, having a great conversation on how Emilia could have been done better. I have no problem. I welcome it.
All right. Yeah, I got thoughts, man. The rest of the article just kind of talks about all that. Earlier in the night during her acceptance speech, let me go back, sorry, to the news. There we go. Earlier the night during her acceptance speech, Saldana highlighted her family's history as immigrants to the United States. My grandmother came to this country in 1961. I'm a proud child of immigrant parents with dreams and dignity and hardworking hands. And I'm the first American of Dominican origin to accept an Academy Award, and I know I will not be the last, I hope. The fact that I'm getting an award for a role where I get to sing and speak in Spanish, my grandmother, if she were here, she would be so delighted. This is for my grandmother. Despite drawing criticism from the Mexican and queer community through the award season, Emilia Perez was the top contender at the Oscars Sunday night, leading the field with 13 nominations. Saldana won for Supporting Actress, while the musical number El Mal took a home original song. However, with 11 losses across all categories, the feature also tied as the biggest loser in the history of the Oscars, a record shared by films like The Color Purple and The Power of the Dog. Nora was the top winner of Sunday's ceremony with 5 wins, including Best Picture, which I'm sure y'all are aware that the director of the film won for himself in a single night, which is actually a record tied for Disney, but is the record for most for a particular project. Because when Disney did it, he had different projects going, whereas the director here won for directing, Best Picture, directing, writing, Best Picture, and I can't remember. Was it editing? Yes, it was editing, because he was joking about him being the only person allowed in the editing room as the editor. He didn't let the stupid director in. That was pretty funny. And then obviously it won Best Actress with Mickey Madison. All right, yeah, let's talk about Zoe, man, because there's a lot going on here. I am not upset with the idea of someone being like, yo, I'm doing this, like, I'm happy that I did this for my grandmother. That's fine. Why people are upset, and rightfully so, let's first just talk about, before we even get to her comments to the Mexicans that were upset about this, Zoe is, throughout her career, kind of done this thing where she would take a lot of black roles. Nina Simone, for example, started off in Drumline, like all sorts of stuff where she was playing like a black woman one way or the other. But then you have this situation where she would deny any sort of blackness whatsoever. So you're playing those roles, and then you turn around and be like, as a lot of Dominican people will say, because there was some racism towards blacks, so they'll be like, me no black, no black Dominican. And that's kind of what this felt like. You know, if she really was acknowledging any of her blackness, and that's why a lot of people were upset, it would be like, I am the first, American of Dominican and, and African origin. You could have just acknowledged both, and you would have actually put a lot of this to bed. Truthfully. You would have put a lot of this to bed where people would have gotten off your back about this. But because you've spent so much time playing these black roles, taking them away from other black actresses, and now all of a sudden you're just kind of tossing all this to the side one way or the other, people just were rightfully very hurt and frustrated with all of that. Uhura as well. I completely forgot Uhura as well. Like one of the most famous black roles in sci-fi and pop culture. So it's one of those things where you really did piss a lot of people off when you then turn around and say some shit about this wasn't about Mexico. What are you talking about? Like, yes, it was about 4 women. Yes, you in theory could have placed it in 2 different countries, but it was specifically placed in Mexico, focusing on Mexican culture. and a lot of Mexicans that have seen it, why they were so offended is the stuff that were just kind of tossed to the side, and the way that both Zoe and the director have talked about Mexico at various times and things like this. And again, this being very dismissive. The way I think smarter people than me have really spoke on this. If you go and look up Francesca Ramsey, she's one of my favorite people on the internet and in Hollywood. She did a really good job of being like, yo, if I was Zoe, I would fire a PR person immediately. And, I would have been like, hey, this is what I was seeing out of it. But like, I just go listen to her words. Let me see even if I can find that super fast and we can watch that together as well. But she really... I put TikTok instead of TikTok.
God, I've been dreading this one in honor of
Tick. That's funny. Francesca Ramsey. Where is it? Okay. Yep.
First of all,
Here we go. Let's go back to the reactions here. Let me pull that up. Bam. Nope. Bam. Yep. Boom. All right.
very sorry that you and so many Mexicans felt offended. That was never our intention. We came from a place of love, and I will stand by that. I don't share your opinion. For me, the heart of this movie was not Mexico.
Zoe Saldana, come to the front. You need to fire your publicist. The fact that you were not prepared for this question speaks volumes. Let me tell you how I would have answered. I am, of course, so proud of this film and my role in it, and I'm so honored that the Academy chose to recognize me for my performance. And of course, I believe that we did this story justice, and it hurts my heart that anyone would disagree, but I have to hold space for the fact that Mexican people can and should express how they feel about this film.
Yep.
Our job as storytellers is to facilitate conversation. And sometimes those conversations aren't ones that I agree with, but because they are happening, I believe that we've done our job.
That's exactly what you
Also
could have
say
said.
It's a really bad sign when you make a film that centers on two communities,
Yep.
Mexican folks and trans people,
Yep.
and then those people say, we're actually not happy with how the film represents us, and then you get an attitude with them.
Yep.
So were you just making a movie about them because you wanted to win awards, or did you actually want to accurately represent them? 'Cause
Bingo.
It's feeling like it was just Oscar bait. Because the writer-director is a cis-het white French dude who doesn't speak Spanish.
Yep.
And decided to set the film in Mexico,
Yep.
but shoot it in France
Yep.
because he didn't want to shoot it in Mexico.
Yep.
And then only hired one Mexican person for the main cast because they just couldn't find any Mexican talent. And then
Yep.
the trans girl in the cast is saying all sorts of hella problematic and racist shit. So, like, I don't really know that she knows what's going on.
Yep.
And then you're going to get an attitude with the very people your film is about.
Come on,
And tell
Francesca.
them, I don't agree with you. You don't agree with their lived experience? Miss Zoe Blackface Saldana, you need to sit down somewhere, please.
And someone else, I'm sorry if you felt offended. Someone in the comments saying she didn't learn a single thing from Nina Simone. Our fake story is more important than your actual reality. This movie isn't about Mexico, then why is it set there? That's all spot on. And that was a lot of the complaints about this movie in the first place. This director, the things that he has said about Mexico and Spanish and all that, but you shot it in France, you refused to go shoot in Mexico, you wouldn't hire anybody else. That is all what has been problematic with this film and why people didn't want it to win, and it really suffered. Now, I did not make it all the way through. I will give Zoe credit for her performance, for what I did see of it, but that does not mean that this response was correct. It's very incorrect, and it's fucked up. And it does read like you only did this for the awards and not to respect the culture of what's going on here. So with all that, I want to know what y'all think, man. Get in the comments. Let me know if you're on the same page. If you feel differently, you're like, hey, man, shut up, whatever. I mean, I personally feel like you're wrong in that case, but you're allowed to have your opinion, and I want to know what it is. I want to facilitate a discussion, man. That's the whole point of all this. Just keep it respectful in this help. All right, let's go on to our next story. This is a Diddy or Didn't He, man. Jay-Z, whoopsies. There we go. Jay-Z is countersuing his accuser and their lawyer. This is from TMZ. Jay-Z claims that the Jane Doe who accused him of sexual assault in an explosive lawsuit knew full well no such thing ever happened, and now he's dragging her to court over it. The music and fashion mogul just filed a lawsuit against his anonymous accuser and her attorney, Tony Busby. In the lawsuit obtained by TMZ, Jay claims his accuser kept pushing her false assault story in the media and in the courts despite allegedly admitting the assault story wasn't true. He claims the Jane Doe told Busby he didn't assault her, and the lawyer pushed her to go forward with the false narrative of the assault by Mr. Carter in order to leverage a maximum payday. Jay-Z says the whole thing was an evil conspiracy to get him to pay Busby a huge sum of money to keep the allegations quiet, even though Busby and the woman knew they were pushing lies. As we reported, the woman dismissed her lawsuit last month with prejudice, meaning it can't be filed again. Jay says she ultimately admitted to his legal team that she was lying the whole time, and he claims Busby is still trying to extort him with false claims that Jay-Z's people have been harassing Jane Doe since she dropped the lawsuit. Hove is going after his accuser and her attorney for damages. The suit's been filed in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of Alabama, and Jay is asking for the court to allow him to sue her as a Jane Doe because he believes she has a history of mental illness and medical vulnerabilities, including instances of self-harm. Tony Busby tells TMZ this new case alleges the same claims as the other one they pieced together and filed in Los Angeles, like the one in LA. This new case in Alabama also has no legal merit. Sean Carter's investigations have been repeatedly harassed, threatened, and harangued this poor woman for weeks, trying to intimidate her and make her recant her story. She hasn't and won't. Instead, she has stated repeatedly she stands by her claims. The same group of investigators have been caught on tape offering to pay people to sue me and my firm. After speaking with Jane Doe today, it's clear to me that the quotes attributed to her in the lawsuit are completely made up, or they spoke to someone who isn't Jane Doe. This is just another attempt to intimidate and bully this poor woman that will deal with in due course. We won't be bullied or intimidated by the case. So this is a continuation story of the accuser standing their ground. The anonymous woman who accused Jay-Z of assault is since dismissed lawsuit is sticking by her story. She says he's intimidating and terrifying her. Jane Doe, who sued Jay-Z and Diddy for allegedly assaulting her when she was 13 years old, doubled down on her claims in a new legal documents obtained by TMZ. She says Hove is trying to bully her into saying that the accusation was bogus. In the documents, the woman claims she recently approached outside of her home and cornered by two people who told her the investigators were working for Jay's lawyers. She claims that people tried to get her to sign an affidavit stating that her claims against Jay-Z were false, but she refused. The woman also claims the alleged investigators asked her if attorney Tony Busby sought her out as a client and offered her money to pursue these false claims against Jay-Z. Two allegations she says she denied. She claims the alleged confrontation left her intimidated and terrified, wondering how they found her when her identity had remained anonymous in media reports and legal proceedings. The woman even claims her parents were approached by two investigators asking similar questions about Busby and her assault story. Jay-Z's accuser sued him late last year. We were talking about this earlier for allegedly drugging and assaulting her way back in 2000. But last month, she filed documents in court to voluntarily dismiss with prejudice, again meaning that she can't refile. She revealed she decided to drop the claim because she was frightened by the reaction from Jay-Z and his supporters. She says she feared she would be publicly outed and subjected to public attacks. Jay-Z, again, is suing Busby and the woman, claiming they admitted to the whole story being made up and that this whole thing was bogus. Woof. Good Lord. All right. So, the main thing here, listening to this story one way or the other, when we heard the details of the lawsuit, my concern was, and a lot of people were, a lot of things weren't adding up, including the accuser's father supposedly picking her up, but not being like that didn't really happen. Her friends saying that not really happening. The year that she was suggesting that it was, the VMAs weren't even at the same spot, and you were dealing she said she was driven 20 minutes away to a house, but there's photos all over the place of Jay-Z at the time of the alleged assault being at like the club at a party and stuff like that. I say all that to say I'm not out here caping for Jay. I don't fuck with Jay-Z like that. But with as serious as this is, and as I've said before, I truly believe, it's all alleged right now, but I truly believe based off of a lot of the things that have already come out about Diddy, that Diddy has done a lot of this stuff. And I wouldn't put it past any other rapper, honestly, or anybody in the entertainment industry of any gender, but especially men in power like that, to have done some effed up shit like has been talked about here. But when you consider that there were so many holes in this situation, Busby has presented over 100 different lawsuits here, and he does and has always given off this kind of smarmy vibe the way he's handled a lot of this stuff. I would not be surprised if some of these are just kind of bogus and out of the absolute blue and doesn't make any sense, and he's just trying to squeeze money out of stuff. It just all doesn't make a lot of sense. Now again, if more of the stuff kind of lined up in a row, and if she didn't, dismiss the claims with prejudice, I mean, yes, it's possible that she was intimidated out of doing this, but it feels like she was almost intimidated into doing it by Busby based off of a lot of the reportings that were going on. So the one thing that I want more than anything, man, is justice. I don't want anybody getting that was assaulted or attacked not seeing the proper justice of the people that hurt them. And I also don't want to see people being framed or false allegations coming out or anything else like that against somebody, and that the people that are actually in the wrong here deal with what they did. And so that's my whole thing. If there is a real case against Jay about doing some stuff, the same thing I said about Diddy, that lock that nigga up or make him pay, whatever it is. But in this particular case, this did not align. It just did not align. And so I do not blame him for then deciding to then turn around and sue Busby and this woman for essentially trying to drag his name through the mud. All that being said, we got to watch how all the rest of this plays out. Again, she can't sue anymore because she filed to dismiss with prejudice. But I'm curious what you think. Are you on the same page here? Do you agree with Jay-Z for trying to countersue? Or, do you think you should just leave it all alone? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And let's go to our last story that, is just really helped me balance out as a human and not be irrationally angry for no reason. Uh-oh. There it is. All right. God damn it. Dallas Mavericks star Kyrie Irving is out indefinitely with an AC tear, putting an end to his season. This is ESPN's report. The Dallas Mavericks all-star Kyrie Irving has suffered a season-ending torn ACL in his left knee. The team announced Tuesday, while expressing optimism the veteran guard will come back stronger than ever. Irving, 32, sustained the injury late in the first quarter of the Mavericks' loss to the Sacramento Kings on Monday night. Injury is a devastating blow to the Mavericks season, as Irving was the team's best overall player and appeared in 50 of the team's 62 games. Irving, who made his 9th NBA All-Star team in February, is the only NBA player this season averaging at least 20 points, 40% three-point shooting, and 90% from the free throw line. It's the 5th season in his 14-year career in which he has reached or surpassed those averages, the second most of all time, trailing Golden State Warriors Stephen Curry, according to ESPN research. Prior to Monday's game, Irving was averaging 39.3 minutes, Jesus Christ, played over his past 10 games, a stretch that began right after the team dealt co-star and arguably best player in the world, Luka Doncic, to the Los Angeles Lakers, the most minutes per game by any player in the NBA from February 4th to March 2nd. Irving averaged 24.7 points, 4.8 rebounds, 4.6 assists this season, and has a $43 million player option for the 25-26 season, the final year of his 3-year, $126 million deal he signed in 2023. Following the news of Irving's season-ending injury, the Mavericks NBA title odds dropped from 66-1 to 200-1 at ESPN Bet. Irving's diagnosis is the latest loss for a Mavs team already missing superstar Anthony Davis, who left his only game with the team on February 8th because of an abductor strain after being acquired from the Lakers in the Doncic trade, as well as Derek Lively II, Daniel Gifford, and Caleb Martin. Dallas also lost reserve guard Jaden Hardy to a right ankle sprain midway through the third quarter. Mavericks fell to 32-30 after Monday's loss and are 3.5 games ahead of the Phoenix Suns for the 10th seed in the Western Conference standings. They're not making the fucking playoffs. I'm calling it now. That wasn't in the report. That's me. I'm not going to go on another full tirade. I've already said everything I need to say about Nico Harrison. This just goes to show that the organization has completely shit the bed. I think the only thing that I would say that I want to bring up about it, because it was just egregious. Now, mind you, this happened before Kyrie. Like, I do want to show this, that Kyrie, as injured as he was, because this is some legend shit. This is the same thing that Kobe did when he tore his Achilles. Knee is gone, but they aren't sure yet what's happening, so he was helped back out.
For those wondering why is he shooting the free throws, if there's a possibility of him coming back to the game.
So he was brought back out. He was helped out by his teammates, back up to the free throw line. You see him, he's saying, thank you, God. You know, that honestly, I think that he's able to get out there. But the reason he shot the free throws is that if there was any chance that he could return to the game, you can see here where they were helping him out to the free throw line, he had to shoot the free throws. If this was something where he just said, like, needs to wrap his knee or something, he had to shoot the free throws. Otherwise, if he doesn't, he's disqualified from the rest of the thing. So he did that in order to get out there. And that was huge. God, man. You can see here. So then he's there on one leg, shooting the free throws, and he made both of them, which is absolutely crazy.
With 2:35 left in the first quarter.
And then they called the timeout and pulled him out. But this is the other thing I wanted to talk about right here. This was fucking infuriating. On February 1st, 2025, loyalty took a step back. Nico Harrison gutted the franchise with the Luka trade. He doesn't understand the culture of being a Maverick. That culture is built on loyalty. He is arrogant and short-sighted. Even if I bought in Nico's faulty logic, the return is the worst in NBA history. The tickets that I'm giving up, this man canceled his season tickets today. The tickets I'm giving up won't be worth much with an aging Kyrie and now an injured Kyrie. This again before he got hurt. An AD and no meaningful draft equity. We're on a fast track to irreverence. I won't have season tickets after this downfall. The main thing that people that was going on, they have raised the ticket prices for season ticket holders. They've raised it 8%. You did that with no fucking superstar. And let me try that again. AD and Kyrie are superstars. Klay Thompson is still kind of on that superstar bubble. He's right under it and whatnot. But as we have mentioned, they are aging. Kyrie is 32 years old and just blew out his ACL. Anthony Davis is, I want to say, 30 and has had injury issues. His nickname is Street Clothes. Has had injury issues his whole time. I really love both of those players, but that means you got a little bit of time left, and who knows if they're going to be healthy enough to go. And you have the audacity to raise your ticket prices 8% when you actually traded the face of the fucking franchise. Go fuck yourself. I'm sure that might have just gotten this video demonetized, but I needed to get that off my chest. Nico Harrison is the worst thing that's ever happened to basketball, at least to Mavericks basketball. And I stand by. I hope that man stubs his toe every time he turns a corner. I hope that is just what happens until the rest of time, until Luka retires. I won't say the rest of your life. I think until Luka retires from basketball, I hope you just stub your toe every time you turn a corner. That's, that's it, and that's all. I'm not going to say it's on site because I'm not that person, that like I'm not going to talk big game on the internet and then turn around and not actually do no shit. I just F you forever, dog. Real talk. You and the Dumonts, F y'all. Thank you for ruining something that was so near and dear to so many sports fans' hearts. The one city, the city that we can't rely on the Cowboys because Jerry Jones is senile and won't let shit go. And that was the one team that we really felt that we could all rally behind it as long as we had Luka. The things were going to be all right. And he's gone. And now our two superstars that we have left are ridiculously hurt. So, yeah, man. Screw you, Nico. Screw you. All right, that's going to be the rest of the Blerd Breakdown. Thank you so much for watching the show, man. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you know when I'm dropping new content and throw a thumbs up on this. I do want to go and read these super chats real quick before we get out of here. We got one from B-Town who says, love the content, man. No shame from me. I hope they go multiverse crazy one last time with Spider-Man 4 before Secret Wars. Hey, I'm here for it, and it sounds like that's exactly what they're going to do. And if that theory is what they're going to do to bridge Doomsday to Secret Wars, I think that's going to be freaking awesome. That is the one exception to I wanted a street-level Spider-Man. And maybe what it is that Doomsday happens, right? Maybe the first half of the movie is street-level Spider-Man, and then as this unfolds from his point of view, that's what he has to do going forward. Or maybe that's what Act 1 is. is street level, and then he gets, thrown into this whole misadventure. And then we have another one from Seattle KO. Thank you so much for the super chat for the car repair. I really, really appreciate you guys so much for that. Like I said, this will be edited, and I will definitely be trying to stream whenever I can. And I'm going to do a marathon stream sometime next week. But yes, for those that are just getting here as the show is ending, my car broke down. Don't know yet quite what it is, so we're going to do a little fundraiser to try and either pay for the repair, or God help me if I have to put a deposit down for a new car. Not really in the cards right now, but if it's something I got to do, it's something I got to do, so we will figure all of that out. But all that being said, I genuinely, that Haskell, that was the emergency. The quick story as I leave, because again, we're shutting it down for today. I was at work, pretty far from home. For those that know Los Angeles, I live more in the center part of it, the West Hollywood, North Hollywood, Sherman Oaks, Studio City, the main kind of hub of Los Angeles, right? I was working pretty far out in Downey, which is out towards like Anaheim, where Disneyland is. So anybody that's familiar with LA, you know that is a trek. I had just finished work at the studio that I work at, and I was driving back to our other location on the west side of LA, only for my car to start making these weird rattling noises, and then for the engine to just die. And so, I turned it off. Turned it back on, it kicked up for a second, then it died again. And then instead of people helping me at first, it was a bunch of people just yelling at me, even though my car fucking died. Like, fuck you. Like, what the hell? Nice Samaritan did help me push it to the gas station across the street. Got a tow truck, dropped it off at the dealership. I have a Nissan, so I dropped it off at the nearest Nissan dealership. I would have preferred to use my mechanic up here, but I didn't have enough towing to get it all the way over there, so it made the most sense to just go with the same brand dealership of the car that I have. And now I am waiting for them to get back to me. They said they needed about another day, so I'll either get the phone call today or tomorrow as to what's wrong. I am praying that it is a minor thing. It's like, your spark plugs were out and it was caused it to short out and you're good. Something silly like that. Or, maybe there was a little bit of buildup that needed to be cleared out. We're praying for that being the scenario and not like, there goes your transmission, knock on wood. So all that being said, it is probably going to be a costly repair regardless when an engine goes out like that. So I will most likely, looks like Nico traded your engine as well. F that guy. So the follow the dealership will cost me. I'm aware of that, but it was I just needed someone that I knew understood the car one way or the other. I was in panic mode. But the follow-up that I was going to say, what ended up happening is the start of the show I mentioned that I've got a potential iron in the fire right now. I got a call back. Again, it's an NDA. I signed an NDA, so I can't talk about what it is. But I got a call back as I'm being towed into the dealership the same day that it was supposed to happen that afternoon. So I panicked because I was like, holy shit, I can't get back into town. So I was trying to figure out if there was anybody that I knew. I was texting everybody that I knew. My lady was in the middle of a work emergency of her own. So I was just like, oh my God, is there anybody that can pick me up? And fortunately, I was able to get a hold of Jay. Jay had some time. I owe him massive because he not only came and picked me up, because he lives even further away from the area that I was at. He drove me to the audition, and then we showed up a little early, about an hour early, and Jay stood outside. They were running behind. I was supposed to be seen at 5:15. I didn't get seen until about 5:45, 5:50, and didn't leave there until about 6 something. So Jay not only came and dropped everything he was doing, but he took me to the audition, and then he sat in the car for 2 hours until I could get out of there. So I really owe him a big one. So if you see Jay too, if you want to give him some love, definitely go hit him up on IG. I don't think he checks Twitter much anymore. Hit him up on Blue Sky or whatever, and just tell him he's a real one. But yeah, that's what's going on. Stay tuned for the stuff coming on. Again, that stream that's coming. I got some videos dropping and stuff like that. Remember, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, get in the comments, let me know what you think about all these stories. And I'm going to chirp up out of here, man. So all of y'all be safe. Got nothing but love for you. I will see y'all on the next one, man. Peace. Oh, we had one more before I go. One more super chat from Marcus M. Thank you so much. That said, Zoe really did blackface Nina Simone. She really, really did. Ain't that about a bitch?